And what has helped me greatly is taking a hard look at part of my professional field, American culture. I've been an English teacher, a teacher of English as a second language for the past 35 years at the University of Puerto Rico. And I hope to last 35 additional years to share with my students what I'm finding out recently. Actually, this is only about six-year-old experience in the field of nonverbal. A communication system. In other words, it's pretty much integrated. And it's usually made up of language, which you know quite a bit about, and nonverbal, which we know very little about. In fact, I have devoted most of my 35 years to teaching just English to my students as a second language, and I thought I was equipping them pretty well to communicate with Americans. Then recently I found out the whole nonverbal field. Actually, anthropologists are saying that language is only about 35% of that communication system. So the query, asking a question stance. If you go like this, suddenly all motion stops. You didn't get it. Okay, no. And something like this may come. Never a word, but something in nonverbal. Words with authority figures seem to be very, very disrespectful. Imagine. I'll tell you more about it. Okay, I started collecting gestures, and I felt pretty good because people were inviting me, and I was giving all this, and suddenly a sabbatical year came, and I was asked to give a very big talk somewhere in the States, and then I started reading, and this whole field came up and came out. I was in Philadelphia at that moment when I was asked to talk about nonverbal and the teaching of English as a second language. And I decided I would watch what I was doing, and that's how I got into the new meanings I found out for smiling. I would go into shops in Philly, and I was having trouble. I said, it can't be my English. It isn't bad. It's pretty good, isn't it? And then what is it? It couldn't be prejudice. I'm rather white. And what is it? And I used to straighten my hair before, so it was even less. So, okay, I said, now, what could be it? And one day I went into a printer shop, and I opened the door. I approached the counter, and she said the formula, which is used in the States, may I help you? And I answered back, yes, I would like to order some cards. But at that moment, she was looking at me in such a scared fashion that I froze. And I had the horrible feeling, my God, she thinks I'm a nut. You know, that intuitive thing, she's rejecting me. She was just like this, something like that. And when I entered, I used the Puerto Rican smile, which is used with women and among women. And it's constant in the towns. And you smile at one coming at you, and you bow your head a little bit, and you keep walking. The towns, this is whether you know the person or not, a woman, between women, not with men. The message is different. The message is different. The message is, I'm available, you see? So now you know, if you want to use that. And with an older man, it may have a different meaning, but then the coyness sets in, hola, you see, and a respectful sighting of the body. So as I opened the door, I flashed my Mayagüez woman smile, like this. And I approached the desk, and it got bigger and bigger, until all my teeth were showing, which is normal here for women. And when she said, may I help you, my whole face was from ear to ear. My smile was from ear to ear. My teeth were showing out. Yes, I would like to, gosh, no. At that moment, she froze, and I froze, and I couldn't imagine what was happening. And then I saw my smile. I said, it can't be my smile. Again, the replaying at an awareness level of something that is performed out of awareness. And I said, goodness gracious, couldn't be my smile. I got so angry. The cards were printed wrong, can you imagine? the order was taken wrong. She was so upset, and I was upset, and we screamed at each other. And so I told my friends there in Philadelphia, and then later on in New York, about the event. A friend of mine who was a teacher of ESL students, of English students at the kindergarten level, said, "Judy, I'm going to tell you a story, and I know you will understand and not feel hurt." I said, when I was given my kindergarten class for the first time, I entered the class, and there was a group of Puerto Rican children, and they were like this at me. And I said to myself, as she told me, they were scared stiff. And she said, and I thought to myself, oh God, another bunch of morons. And I said, oh, Faye, you don't mean to say that. And I said, and I processed it, and I started thinking. And then I remembered in my master's studies, I had taken English Lit. That was my whole master's. It was a ball, 9 months reading only literature, hidden in the stacks at Columbia University. So it was beautiful, and I lived that British experience fully. And I remembered phrases. I remembered reading a phrase like this. He was grinning like a fool. It's untranslatable into Spanish. Or she was smiling like an idiot. And I said, there it is. The language showing what the culture feels about a nonverbal behavior. And then I also remembered another thing. In order to, show your stamina and your vitality as a person, you must always keep a stiff upper lip. When I found this, I decided what to do about teaching my students how to dialogue. They can't talk with a stiff upper lip. It's impossible. It's impossible, really. But I found out that after you have established your sanity in the first few seconds, you can smile then. Because establishing the other person's balance, mental balance, is important in communication. There are such things as sick people. And you have to know if you're talking to one, and the language gives you immediately the messages, plus the nonverbal, and after you've established it, and everything is all right. So I always begin most of my English dialoguing with a stiff upper lip. And as soon as I know that everything is all right, and I see the amiability and the gentleness and the courtesy, I switch to my own channel, and nothing happens. Nothing. I'm treated like a queen, which I know is an orgullo, a pride of American. And so I started practicing. I would come up to a shop, and I said, stiff upper lip. Okay. It's hard because this lip isn't made to be stiff. Here in Puerto Rico. Okay. And I began to experience the other way of controlling this area completely. A lot of flexibility here in the lower jaw and here. Eyes up. The eyebrows are very expressive in Anglo world, very expressive. And it worked.